Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream. And we are the imagination of ourselves.
Here's Tom with the weather.
Remember when Outkast were having like creative differences, and so they wanted to make an album, but they couldn't get on the same page? So they basically made an album that's made up of two different albums separately, called Speaker Box by Big Boy and The Love Below by Andre 3000. That's kind of like what this video is going to be, because I have like two different topics that I want to discuss in this video. And as I'm talking, I want to try to find a way to bring them together, although I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. It's going to be spontaneous when I do. But the first topic has to do with something that a colleague in my trade school a couple years ago had brought up to me. We were talking about something. I'm not sure what it was, but I think it came down to the question of where does evil come from? And he told me that he believes that evil comes from unconsciousness. And I'm like, I think I'm tempted to agree on that. Demons basically hide in pockets of unconsciousness. Repression, and by the way, something that we're learning very rapidly is that spirituality and psychology are actually very interconnected, to the point that I'm calling it psychospirituality. Demons basically set up shop, and possession is enabled via not facing things, which, in a word, is ignorance. And that's a quality amongst these people of the Kali Yuga. It's blindness, ignorance, and willful ignorance, right? There is amongst the people of the Kali Yuga a certain denial of what's clearly in front of them. There is a desire to just put their attention elsewhere. If there's a problem in front of them, they kind of just go with the motions and don't really pay attention to what's going on around them. If there's some pain inside of them, they prefer to avoid that pain via distractions in the external world, which again is polarity, as I've described it in my previous videos. They are polarized towards the earth, worldly things, the 10,000 things of the world, and so they seek external distractions through the five senses. There is a delusion, and delusion simply is the unwillingness to face reality. So now we see this continuous pattern amongst these demonically possessed people. They don't want to face the truth of what's going on around them. They don't want to face truth in the sense of being authentic, so they wear a mask. They don't present with their true selves. They don't face the world as their true self. They don't face their inner emotions, inner demons, you might say. And yeah, you see this continuous pattern of taking your gaze away from what needs to be faced. And the moment you do that, funny enough, the sun, the soul, SOL, is heavily related to eyesight. The sun rules the eyes. And the Eye of Horus is a very solar image. And you also hear about the Eye of Ra. Even the glyph of the sun can be construed as an eye. It's a circle with a dot in the middle. So, in a lot of ways, the sun is what lets us see things. Let there be light. And in darkness, those things are invisible. This is why Saturn and the sun are opposites. And effectively, Pluto's job is to make you go deep within to the center of your being, deeper than you ever thought possible in your own mind. So deep that you move even beyond your self-identity to a deeper level of the mind. When you start to access the collective unconscious, which is indeed a part of your mind, you begin to realize that the lines that determine what is you and what is something far greater and all-encompassing begins to blur. But back to the point, these people of the Kali Yuga, they are of negative polarity, not positive. They fear Pluto greatly, right? These demonic people, funny enough, they fear the Lord of the underworld. The underworld that is within the core of you. You being a chosen one, being of positive polarity and being of a Plutonian current, your mere presence engages in other people the psychological function of going within and digging things up to the surface, which is exactly what they don't want. They're trying to escape. They're trying to turn their gaze away. Funny enough, and this is the beauty of astrology, is just by virtue of how the planets rule so many different things, and they operate as this complex of different qualities, just by virtue of speaking in astrological terms, you can make connections that go beyond basic empiricism. In other words, your mind can work in ways that would otherwise be impossible. You can access deeper levels of the mind this way. Another thing is, in that same vein, you talk about how the sun gives us vision, and the sun also has the property of actually dissolving witchcraft and sending away negative spirits, sending away demons. And so, in a sense, by putting your eyes, the sun has to do with vision and sight, making things visible. The sun makes things visible. By putting sight on those things in the darkness, the demons are seen at first, but then soon they disappear. That's so interesting because we know that demons are found in the darkness. But once we bring light to what's deep within in our underworld, the demons disappear. But there is that transitional period between first vision and the clarity of full sight. And that tension is the chosen one experience. Because in a sense, these demons that are outside of yourself are outraged and upset, and they go on the attack because for once they're being seen. They weren't bothering you when you couldn't see them, when you didn't know they were there, when you weren't on to how they work. Before your spiritual awakening, they didn't bother you. But now that you put sight on the darkness, you start to see the darkness that are in people. Your discernment has grown so much. The attacks have increased a great deal. But it's still not a very clear picture. Once those demons come into full focus, once you shed major light on that darkness, the demons simply disappear because you have dissolved them through integration. And that darkness of ignorance is really interesting because we can see that clearly the demonic activity increases by several orders of magnitude when these people join groups. And I don't know what it is recently, but just listening to people's conversations when I go out in public, I just think to myself, oh my God, everything everyone has to say is so dumb. It's just vacuous, shallow, stupid. Like my cynicism is just absolutely overrunning. And it was never like that before. It was never so intensely just like listening to people. I was like, oh my God. And people asked like, aren't you uncomfortable being alone all the time? And I think to myself, no, because what I'm thinking about is a billion times more interesting than what you people are talking about. You people are talking about like potato chips and your personal relationship to like Pringles, you know? Like people just talk about the dumbest shit. But I have found that you can have a one-on-one conversation that goes really deep. You talk to somebody and you have a one-on-one conversation and you guys can have a really deep conversation that really plumbs the depths of the human condition and gets to the bottom of things a lot. Now you take that same person that you had that deep one-on-one conversation with and then you add 3 more people. With each additional person you add, that conversation is not just going to become dumber and more ignorant. It's going to become just more juvenile and crass and obnoxious. There is like a cloud of raucous idiocy, jackassery that grows when one-on-one conversations turn to groups. A cloud of darkness comes over it. The self-reflection goes down a lot because ultimately, if you're in a group of people, you have to talk in a way that appeals to everybody in that group. Just by virtue of the design of that, you have to go more basic and more simple. You have to simplify the conversation into things that are just like, I saw this happened. You're talking about things you saw with your five senses. Or things that you did, you know? Like there is just minimal, meaningful conversation. So, yeah, something about groups of people coming together just creates a cloud of ignorance. The same ignorance that is the substrate, the same unconsciousness that is the substrate that demons feed on and live on. And funny enough, what does the Bible say? My name is Legion, for we are many. Yeah, it seems to be a running theme that multiplicity, multiple fragmentations, multiple people, large numbers of things, which are by nature a fragmentation of the divine, creates more pockets for demons to hop in. There was a demonic individual in my workplace who's the new hire since I'm fucking quitting because of the very thing of which I'm speaking. And I had to show him the ropes of the conversation, or show him the ropes of the job. And as we're having this conversation, he's just giving off weird energy. You know, we all know this by now. But he was waiting for other coworkers to be around to start being shitty. He's looking around for other coworkers. So he finds he wasn't getting shitty with me before. Now I guess the other coworkers, he's trying to get the other coworkers on his side so he can attack. So there is something really deeply linked to the group and demons. And you go a lot deeper, and there is a greater elevation of consciousness and a private one-on-one conversation, and I would argue even deeper when you're completely alone. Because although you're completely alone, you may not have the benefit of sharing and exchanging ideas. Going deep within alone gives you a really high level of access to the divine and allows you to bring consciousness to a lot of places. You're putting the sun, on the darkness within. Yeah. So, speaking of within, the levels of self, it's where it gets interesting. This is the second part of the video. This is the second topic. Is a dream. It's just like the quote in the beginning said. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. But whose dream? And that's the million-dollar question. It's the dream of Eye Asher Eye. That is the divine name of Keter in Kabbalah, which is the deepest level of Jewish mysticism. That's the divine names are the names of God. And at the top of the tree of life is Eyeh Asher Eyeh, means I am that I am, or I will be what I will be. This is the crossroad of what is and what isn't. The crossroad of real and unreal. The crossroad of potential in motion and emptiness. The I am. This is the dream of God, Eyeh. And it's after the I am that comes Yod He Vav He, which we pronounce Yahweh. Yahweh is the divine name of Chokmah, which is downstream of Keter. But before Yahweh, or Yahweh Elohim of Binah, it's Eyeh Asher Eyeh, which is I am. And the I am is the dream of God, of which we are all a part. Imagine, if you will, that there was a sea of consciousness, ubiquitous sea of consciousness all around you, like in this video on the screen. When you look into the waters, you see your reflection. When you look into the waters, you see trillions, sextillions, an inquantifiable amount of droplets of water that are not droplets at all. The ocean is one thing. And still, in this sea of consciousness that's all around us, there are reflections by which we see ourselves. Everything is a projection. Everything is us pushed out. And yet, everything is not us, because there is no us. There is only God. And that is the I am. And the I am, as the name suggests, is a creator. In Exodus, it's read as, I will be what I will be. And essentially, this comes back to the samskars, which are the impressions that you make on your soul, on your mind, on your soul mind, because it's all psycho-spiritual. It's comparable to the Akashic records. This sea of consciousness that's all around us, it has memory. These waters that are all around us, it has memory. And the scenes that are enacted as part of this dream are stored as memory. And that's the dream that we dream. We will attract the exact parts, fragments of God that took place on these impressions, these Akashic records, these samskars. And so, this is where we find a way to tie my two topics back together. We are simply, all of us, a part of God's dream. Very convinced that what we experience is reality. And funny enough, everybody who's taken DMT says that when they take DMT, the realm that they enter feels like the absolute true reality. And when they come back to our limited dimension, everything around us looks like a cartoon. The Matrix agents, these demons of unconsciousness, these samskars of unconsciousness and fragmentation, they're very committed to making sure that we view this realm not as a dream and not as a creation of which we are all co-creators, as we are all at the deepest core of ourselves, the I am, the Eye, Asher Eye. These demons are very committed to taking this dream very seriously, to call this reality, and to remove the sight of the tethers that combine us all as one, as God. And one of the really simple ways to do that is to, first and foremost, destroy the idea of God at all. And yeah, whenever I see, I'd be watching Chosen One's videos. Like I saw a Truth Tiger video the other day, and somebody replied as a comment to somebody else talking about God. It says like, that's because God's not real. Laughing emoji, laughing, crying emoji, rolling on the floor, laughing, crying emoji. And I just think to myself, perhaps you believe that, but I wonder why I never hear somebody say that who can't just make like a reasoned argument. Why is it always attached to this very prideful, arrogant sort of self-absorption? Like, why are you laughing and crying? Are you laughing and crying because you feel like you are so much more intelligent and superior for not believing in things that are mystical? That's the way it looks to me, is people's ignorance is held together by pride. That is a way in for demons, and demons really are agents of ignorance. And it's an important lesson that if you want to plumb the depths of reality, to learn the deepest truth of the things that are going on around you, your pride has to die very early on. Because that guy who's like, you believe in God. Oh, you're like a child. You're like a silly, undeveloped child, not like me, an intelligent adult who's able to use critical thinking. That obscene egomania is a blockade to sight of reality. The pride has to die. That pride is the same thing that if you look back on your life and you ask yourself the question, why did I do that? Why did I believe that back then? Why didn't I not see these things that were clearly obvious? is one of two things. One is the pride, the arrogance that you were taught to dismiss things and to feel haughty and superior. You were basically taught a system of beliefs that allow you to have narcissistic supply and ones that are considered humiliating. And so you played the game of believing things that make you feel superior rather than believing things that are true. And then the other side of it is, these demonic people are always looking to the group. That's just the nature of the Matrix. It is a form of groupthink, but not only is the world their god, but the community consensus is their god, for sure. So, probably a big reason why you may have done things that you know now just don't make sense to do on an intellectual or ethical level, or just in the way that you deal with people or situations. You know now because you stopped worshiping other people's consensus viewpoint. The only reason you were doing it originally is because, like everybody else, you used to look for security in the beliefs of the people around you. You learned to let Uranus in. Uranus allowed you the revolution to have independent thought. And this is a description of you, dear viewer. You are an independent thinker with your own beliefs. You go off on your own and you create your own systems of thought. That's you, chosen one. That's very different than all the people around you. I'm not just talking about belief systems, what people accept as being true. I'm talking about people are so shaped by the group that they borderline have no agency of their own. The people of this Kali Yuga are obsessed with finding a community or a group to determine the correct mask to wear in that community or group, and then to be shaped by that group and transformed by that group. That's a dangerous game because, as we said, the dark cloud of ignorance looms over a group. It becomes dumber. It becomes more ignorant. It becomes more like childish, immature, obnoxious. The jokes go up a lot, but the jokes become more stupid and facile and childish. Like, before you know it, you're laughing at things that just don't make sense to laugh at. And just watch as everybody around you's laughing, and now you start to get the urge to laugh as well. Just being in a group perpetuates groupthink. So when you come in carrying the surging, shaking energy of Uranus, of independent thought, of independence in general, independence from the group, independence from this devouring egregore, then you immediately disturb these people. You don't even see Uranus all over you, probably. You may not even be fully aware of how independent you are as a person compared to these people. If you're chosen, if you're like me, you don't need to be around people. You're perfectly comfortable on your own. It would be hard to understand unless you were able to step into the viewpoint of the people around you. But it's really important for you to understand that everybody around you, all these people of the Kali Yuga, there is absolutely no possibility for them to be alone. They would go crazy. They have no ability to face themselves. They have very little ability to face most things. And they constantly need distractions in the form of other people. They lust after that cloud, that dark cloud of obnoxious, stupid ignorance that looms over a group. That cloud that blocks out the sun of vision is an opiate of these people. It's intoxicating. And so when you come in, what does Uranus do? It disturbs. It shakes things up. Your mere presence is a revolution. And that's because Uranus is within you, and not to mention, Pluto is within you as well, as you bring hidden things to the surface. And you are a walking insinuation that spirit is superior, and that the things of the material world, worldly things, are insubstantial and cancerous. Do you understand that the world is all these people have? These people of the Kali Yuga, do you understand that's all they have? It's their God. And therefore, your mere presence is an insult to their God. The angels of this God are demons. The world is a proponent of fragmentation. Fragmentation. You can understand it almost as multiple personality disorder. In multiple personality disorder, you have different fractured fragments of the self that are off speaking terms with each other. When one personality comes out and does certain things, the other ones can't really remember what they did. And they have a hard time integrating amongst themselves to have a coherent understanding of what's going on. Guess what? The universe is God having multiple personality disorder. Alters. That's what it's called. Dissociative identity disorder. They have alters. They have different personalities, fractured fragments of the psyche. It starts with the planets. These are the alters of God. These are God's multiple personalities, his different hands. You say, well, is God merciful or is he wrathful? And I say yes, because God is Jupiter and God is Saturn. You ask, okay, well, is God quarrelsome and assertive, or is God passive and docile and loving romance rather than quarrel? I say, well, yeah, I mean, Venus and Mars both exist. They're hands of God. And from there we get 10,000 things, okay? All the people around you are the multiple personality disorder of God. Deep fragmentation. Therefore, to come to the fullest front-facing experience of God, because we can't really experience a true self of somebody with multiple personality disorder without bringing the parts together. We need to dissolve the separations between these multiple personalities of God. How is this done? Universal love and forgiveness. Universal love and forgiveness. And to get there, you kind of have to start with universal hate. Because if you go from personal love, a la, you're my romantic partner and I would do anything for you, you are my special person, or the tribalistic sense of you are my best friend, you are my, I am your ride or die, and you are part of my tribe, and so it's us against the world. That notion makes it very difficult to practice universal love, because your love is filtered through the lens of this very tribalistic, sort of low personal love. But when demons are body jumping into everybody you talk to, and it's the same demon jumping into everybody you talk to, you develop equal hate, pretty much. Now, it's funny, I was when I first joined the workforce, I was working at Subway. And my coworker said something that was really puzzling to me. He said, I hate everyone equally, including myself. I'm like, mind blown. What the fuck are you talking about, buddy? I kind of get it now. Because there are threads connecting us all. This sea of consciousness all around us is a sea of mirrors, of reflections. We look out the world, we see another person. Really, we're looking into the water's surface and seeing our own reflection. The samskars, our memory, these Akashic records. This kaleidoscopic mirror world. And once all of the fractures of the mirror are rejoined, then we have the vision of God. And what do you see in this mirror? Nothing. There is no you to see it. It's just the mirror. You understand? The world is God experiencing itself through these fragmentations. And so don't you see that the demons are necessary? The demons are nothing more than the agent provocateurs of fragmentation. And how does God have an experience of itself? The very same. Fragmentation. And this is the meaning of the descending soul and the ascending soul. The descending soul comes from the unified totality of God, the source. God seeks knowledge of itself, for things can only be understood by contrast. Ergo, the mirror God must fragment. Now bent at a 90-degree angle, this mirror, now in two fragments, has vision of itself. It has vision of itself. Because now the fractures of the mirror is a consciousness a reflective consciousness, the mirror can see itself now. This creates the infinite expanse. What happens when you're in like a hotel room where you have two mirrors across from each other? You see an infinite regress of the mirrors. That's the expansion of the universe. Also, those two fragments have a name. In Taoism, it's yin and yang. It's the Taiji. In Kabbalah, it's Binah and Chokhmah. Keter is unity. Keter is the unified God. Keter is a part of the Ein Sof, the endless, infinite, unified existence of God. The limitlessness, the Wu Ji in Taoism, without ridgepole, without separation. And what the Taoists call the Tao, in Western thought is called the Logos. It's the harmonious order that comes with this God. And from there, those two mirrors fragment further. And as the saying goes, from the Tao Te Ching, from the Tao comes one, from the one comes two, from the two comes three, and from the three comes 10,000 things, all embracing the very same yin and yang. Those 10,000 things are us, my friends. And so, guess what? This is where we tie these two topics of the video together. Yes, it's all a dream. Yes, it's a creation of the mind of God, of which you are a part of that mind of God. You are an expression of God. We are created in God's image. And that means that the very same unconsciousness that's projected, that's the substrate of demons, guess what? That's a reflection too. That's a reflection of something inside of you, and this is why Ho'oponopono is so important. Ho'oponopono is implicitly predicated upon the assumption of Ayeh Asher Ayeh. I am that I am. It's predicated upon the I am. Because in Ho'oponopono, which is from my Step 3 cleaning video on this channel, a form of Neptunian magic, you are told to take responsibility for everything that is around you. Because everything is a mental projection. It's the first law of the Kabbalian's principles of Hermeticism. It's principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. Everything is a mental projection. Everything is data, Ho'oponopono tells us. Everything is things we've picked up along the way as part of our long journey of the soul. And Ho'oponopono is magic because it allows us to dissolve these fragmentations that we may experience divinity. Through 4 simple phrases. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Why am I sorry? The hell did I do? You are the creator. That tree of life in Kabbalah is a map of the emanation of everything in existence. The bottom of that tree is Malkuth. That is the kingdom of material manifestation, the things that exist physically in our world. You are encompassed as part of that. Everything above Malkuth is the substructure of consciousness that makes up that end result of physical existence on Earth. At the very top of that tree is Keter. The name of God associated with that, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. Even before Yahweh, which has to do with Chokmah. And so, you are the creator. That doesn't mean that you are God and everything else around you is subject to you, your lessers. No, the illusion that separates you from God is separation itself. That there is these other things and other people around you. And so the reason that these demons are obsessed with making you hate them is because hate implicitly suggests that there has to be something outside of you to hate. You, in a state of universal love, everything is dissolved into one. But when there's hate, the hate that demons want to propagate is very highly personal hate. But you know the funny thing? Just like in the Bible, the Satan can't do anything unless it asks God for permission. So, in a manner of speaking, demons are very irrelevant. Because demons have no agency. They have no control. Demons are just a whirling maelstrom of feral, rabid desire to impulsively attack and ruin anything around it. But they're not allowed to touch anything in the world. They're only allowed to, in a very limited way, have their nature expressed in the world when God says that they're allowed to. That's when the Satan asks God to harass Job in the Bible. Therefore, all demonic activity is the result of God's will. Which, once again, God is the I am, correct? And you are the I am, deep down. So guess whose will it is, really? Yep. It's yours. You want the demons to attack, so that you have the opportunity to dissolve this attacking agent, to experience evolution. God is obsessed with the evolution of consciousness because God is the consciousness. And that consciousness is inside of you. Therefore, God is within you. Therefore, you implicitly desire to attract challenging circumstances that propagate and spur the evolution of consciousness. The God within you, the I am. Yes, all around you is the dream. All around you is Neptune's haze. To return to Neptune is to return to the site of the dream's beginning. It's not that Neptune is the planet of dreams. All of the planets below Neptune are the dream, including the Earth, including physically everything around you. It's all the dream. And so, to step into Neptune and step out the other side is to realize that it was a dream. A dream that God dreamed through you via projections and choices to experience the evolution of consciousness by immersing oneself in perversity and hatred and separation and fragmentation and overcoming it all through universal love and forgiveness to create the kind of contrast necessary for God to know itself through the reflection of itself. Yeah. Boom. So if you don't know, now you know. But this is all theory. I don't know. I feel like I've already made videos on the topic. If you're interested in practically pursuing steps that you can take so that these theoretical understandings can become a more immediate and habitual and visceral aspect of your being, that is, that you want to be realized, you want these understandings to be realized in your own being. A great framework for that, in my opinion, is Franz Barden's Initiation into Hermetics. And of course, never forget to do your Ho'oponopono. And a good meditation practice is the brilliant, perfect lubricant to nullify the destabilizing static and distraction of the demonic activity going on around you that's obsessed with distracting you, obsessed from making it so you don't face true things, particularly by causing pain and humiliation and suffering. That takes your mind off of the divine. So by isolating like a monk, and by practicing universal love and forgiveness, and by using meditation as a lubricant, particularly I'm a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza's alpha brainwave body part induction style meditation. I think it's one of the best. By combining that with the Ho'oponopono, and in my opinion, doesn't hurt to invoke Neptune itself through the astrological rules that I mentioned in my Step 3 video. Step 3 cleaning, Chosen One Step 3 cleaning. Those are some practical steps you can take to start to take actual steps and do actual practices on a daily basis to actually make progress and make changes. But yeah, this is more of a theory video, retreading a lot of old ground. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Thanks for joining me.